My first connection to this lagoon was when I was probably 6 years old, coming down on that classic road trip, from New York with my parents. And the two things that stuck with me was the smell right now in the spring of orange blossoms and water. St. John's River, Indian River Lagoon, how blue the water off our beaches was.
The lagoon, it's been a part of my family story for 4 generations now. My grandfather operated the Titusville fishing pier when I was a kid. My father had a boat plant. He built fiberglass boats. And then there's me and my sister. We have Dixie Crossroads Seafood Restaurant and Wild Ocean Seafood Market.
In the 70s was an absolute dream because the water was clean, pristine. It was a really good time to be a kid.
Here along Florida's East Coast, the Indian River Lagoon isn't just a body of water, it's a part of our identity. For generations, people have come here to fish, to work, to raise their families, and to experience something you really can't find anywhere else.
My grandfather would call 2 or 3 people on the phone when the shrimp started running. Usually it was like really early in the morning, like around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Half the town would be out on the pier. A lot of them would still be in pajamas and bathrobes because the shrimp, sometimes they only ran for a few minutes and they didn't want to take the time to get dressed.
The Indian River means the world to me. I've made my living on the Indian River. It's where I cut my eye teeth fishing. It's been a place where I've gone to, relax, fish, get food, and make a living. So my whole life is kind of surrounded by the Indian River Lagoon.
They remember clear water, thriving seagrass, schools of fish moving across the flats. And over time, many began noticing those things disappearing.
There were fish houses all along the waterfront at Oak Hill. Now there's none. When you rode down US 1, there were all these little mom and pop little restaurants. Gradually, all of that business left.
In 2010 to 2011, we lost a lot of trout. We lost all of our snook. We lost most of our tarpon.
We had the worst freeze we ever had, which killed 90% of our life we had in the river at the time. There was nothing to filter out the algae that absolutely bloomed.
The story of how we got here is complex. It involves decades of growth, changes in how water moves across the landscape, and how excess nutrients make their way into the lagoon.
The same things that make the Indian River Lagoon special also make it very susceptible to pollution and require us to live a cleaner lifestyle than what most Americans are able to do. Drainage was cut by engineers to convey water that historically drained to the St. John's River, drain it more quickly to the Indian River Lagoon to provide flood protection benefits. But that also carried pollutant load to the Indian River Lagoon. Water does not follow those jurisdictional boundaries, so we have to look at how the water is connected to identify where the best place for projects should be and how to reduce that pollution. And that requires everybody who is responsible for the land to participate in protecting the water.
Not that anybody's to blame because we just didn't know any better. But now that we do, there's a lot of activity going back into trying to restore that ecosystem.
Across the lagoon, there are projects happening right now that are making a real difference. From large-scale infrastructure improvements to hands-on restoration in the water.
Rediversion project takes that water, captures it, treats it, and pumps it west to the St. John's River where it belongs. So we're keeping that pollution out of the Indian River Lagoon. We're keeping the excess fresh water out of the Indian River Lagoon to protect salinities. We're also putting fresh water back in the St. John's River where it is needed.
Restore Our Shores is part of the Brevard Zoo's conservation programs, and really the focus of Restore Our Shores is applied habitat restoration work out in the Indian River Lagoon. Our largest program by far is our subtidal oyster restoration work. We also do work with a few other resources that we've started working with a little bit more recently in, say, like the past 5 to 6 years. The biggest one that we're really working with right now outside of oysters, I would say, is seagrass. We're not trying to plant our way out of, the declines that have happened, but we're definitely trying to learn as much as we can and support those large efforts.
I saw 9.2 billion clams estimated come out of the estuary as a fishing guide. And the more clams that came out of the water, the dirtier our water got. And so I figured, hey, let's put back clams in the water. That was the last thing that came out of the water. Hooked up with Dr. Todd Osborne from the Whitney Labs. He's been my bridge to the scientific world out there.
It took us 2 months to find 39 clams, but we found those 39 clams and started an aquaculture-based breeding program here. And the whole idea behind that really is, as clams filter feed, they're removing algae, which is a problem for us in the IRL, letting light get through the water column to the sediment where we want our seagrasses to come back. And that's a natural connection that we're trying to reestablish.
There's not going to be a silver bullet. There's not one solution. So being able to work on multiple solutions that might take place in the water, but then also those that take place on land before polluted water ever hit the lagoon, I think that's really where this collaboration comes in.
Dirty water is not good for business, not good for tourism, but not even good for these homeowners who live right on the lagoon. And so understanding that we're in this for the long game, that's both the challenge and the opportunity. And if I'm an engineer wanting to come down here and be part of this vision for space, it's exciting and scary, then I want to live in a really good place. I want it safe. I want it healthy for my family, for my kids. And so this is all about workforce, quality of life, and clean water is absolutely essential to that.
Science, partnership, and community all working together towards the same goal.
When you drive across the causeways and you look out across the water, it's blue. 10 years ago, it was Technicolor, brown, red, green, muddy, just horrible. We can also see in the last several years the recovery of seagrass beginning.
A year ago, we saw return of seagrasses to Mosquito Lagoon and parts of Banana River. Wow, we haven't seen grasses there for 10 plus years. Everybody needs to understand with ecosystems is they don't operate linearly. So you do this and this happens. You do this, you do this, you do this. You keep adding work and then all of a sudden you hit a threshold and things jump up and you see a response. That step up with the grass coming back in Mosquito and Banana was just really infused a lot of people with energy, say, okay, it's working.
We have a black drum fishery during the winter months that is incredible. It's better than when I was a kid. It literally is better than when I was a kid.
I have never seen so many people who go out of their way to get involved. It is very inspiring to see how passionate people are about the lagoon.
The cool thing is that water connects everything. It connects us to each other and us to the world around us. I think there's a lot more that people can do in their everyday lives, thinking about where their water goes.
Anything you put on your yard east of I-95, including the barrier islands, ends up in the river. We don't have any tidal flow. It's one of the most unique estuaries in the world.
If you take care of your little piece and the next person takes care of their little piece, it's a win-win for everybody.
From small changes at home to supporting restoration efforts, every action matters. The future of the Indian River Lagoon depends on the choices we make today. And while the challenges are real, so is the progress and the opportunity to protect this place for the next generation. Because in the end, this isn't just a place we visit, it's something we're all connected to.